We're in the parks for our weekly Disneyland construction update. This week we'll see something fresh and new at Tianas Palace. We've got some displaced critters at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and our first look ever at the ongoing construction of Universal's Epic Universe in Florida. It's really cool, especially if you like to watch things get built like I do. It's amazing. But first, let's go to Adventureland, so we can update you on the restrooms there at the entrance to Adventureland, which are still under repair and don't look anywhere near complete. But I can report that the walls have grown, so much so that they've actually completely cut off access to Frontierland from Adventureland. So that little path that goes in front of the the Frontierland gift shop there is closed off. You can't go that way. What they're doing in there, I can't tell. I did find one little sliver that I could poke my camera through. Couldn't really make out a whole bunch. It actually looks, that's the area there that we, just a couple weeks ago, we were able to walk on that space. So I don't know if this is, if this is progress or if it's not. I can't tell if it's progress or if maybe if things have gotten worse. But I don't see, for example, I don't see any new excavation here. So I'm not sure why they had to extend the walls, but I could say that I don't feel like we're any closer to this project being finished as of this update. Which is a bummer, because it is very difficult to cross through here into Adventureland from this side. It's basically two-lane traffic. It's one lane in and one lane out, and that's it. And I couldn't even stop to. I tried. I wanted to see if I can get the camera in there, but then I would have been blocking traffic. So very narrow there as you pass in front of the Tiki Room. So we'll go to Adventureland next to check in on the Treehouse. We'll stop here first to notice nothing, really. Quick peek into the daughter's room, but just like last week, it looks like I have a feeling they're done, but I can't see any sort of elements to point at and say, hey, that looks neat or whatever. But it does look like they're probably at least close to finish up there. We'll check in on the open area down here with the kitchen and the exit area of the treehouse. Light fixtures, etc., are still uncovered, which is a good sign. Let's push in on the rockwork here. That looks to be pretty well cleaned up and complete. This section of the rockwork, anyway. Although I think it's been complete more or less in that area for a while. Last week we saw some really cool stuff back there. We saw the copper wiring for the freezer. There it is. You can see the copper wiring there. But I can't find the same stuff that we saw last week, apart from well, it's not wiring, but whatever that copper thing is. But I am curious. What is that? Is that the bamboo for the plumbing system that you see in the concept art? They haven't finished theming it. They haven't painted it. But I'm pretty sure that's the bamboo. That's the plumbing, which is great. I would love to see how this looks installed. So that's for the water distribution system throughout the tree that Father has constructed. One last peek in here, and nothing really sticking out for me there. So I was able to find some spots to point the camera through the walls. Right here, the next shot is going to be where that coming soon sign is, and you can see that they're still deep into. Oh, that's too close, Dave. Too close. I feel like the Emperor. There we go. Yeah, the rockwork is still, they're not near finished with that. They haven't applied any of the final exterior, textures or anything like that. Matter of fact, there's still some mesh, although that could just be excess. But that does not look done. And this is really what we're waiting for, I think, for the most part, is the rockwork and the exit and entrance to the treehouse. Next shot will be between those two signs in the middle, the two middle signs. The Adventureland Treehouse sign and the concept art right there on the wall. We're going to go right in between those. We can't see, I'm here because we couldn't see the water wheel. They had recovered the water wheel, so I wanted to see if I could put eyes on that, but it is still covered in tarp. That's the water wheel behind that clear tarp right there. And then next shot is going to be just to the left of that coming soon sign in the middle of your frame. And we're going to find more rock work, but this looks complete. And that's all I can see here is just the rock work. And then last shot will be where the Adventureland Treehouse sign is on the far left. Well, in the middle of your frame, but the last sign on the left, where the entrance is. hoping to see whatever it is that they're doing. And we can't find stairs. There are stairs, but those are not show stairs. Those are just installed stairs for the construction crew, not show stairs. So unfortunately not yet. We'll take a look at the son's room, which I have a feeling is going to be a lot like our situation was with the daughter's room. Complete-ish, but no visible signs of any kind of theming elements to look at and ponder and admire, except for that one plant. The one that's in the top middle third. Now it's in the middle of the frame. We got on the Mark Twain, actually. We're going to get on the Mark Twain to... When I look, this is why I love the Mark Twain, is that just being able to look down on these guests and empathize with, you know, what kind of day are they having? And are they in the moment right now at Disneyland, enjoying, you know, the majestic wonder that is Disneyland? And as I say that, there's Tiana's Palace. We got some updates for you from Tiana's Palace, but this, you know what, I gotta take Grandpa in here maybe next week. No, by the time I get Grandpa in there, they will have finished this thing, but I digress. Let's get back on the ground and see what's new at Tiana's Palace. Last week I said, hey, I don't see any gaps in the canopies. How are we going to see the princess? Well, it turns out there were gaps. I missed them. Matter of fact, they were in the video, but I didn't see them when I was on the ground, or in post for that matter. But there's a gap right there. That's one of two that I can see. There's that gap, and then there's another one that's more aligned down the middle, right there, right in front of Tiana's Palace sign, right leading up into the balcony. And then here's a look from the train station, full canopy. Looks wonderful. And you might be able to see at this point something fresh and new down there on the ground. Yes, those are tables and chairs. They have brought in all the chairs necessary for seating at they're getting ready to put the tables and chairs out. Well, the chairs are out. That means tables are next. Tables are next. By the time I get my camera down there next week, hopefully we will see those tables down there. But otherwise, yeah, that means that they're done completely with the exterior, with the dining area, or the seating area, I should say. This is all done, complete, done, finished. If they're bringing out chairs, it's finished out here. Not finished yet inside. We're still constructing, you know, in the food service area, which we'll get to in a second, but that's a very good sign that we are right there. I cannot believe we don't even have a foodie guide yet. We should be getting it. We should have had a date by now, and a foodie guide. Confirmed, totally confirmed. That is the mobile order pickup that we're looking at right there. As a matter of fact, we have this image from the street team from Eric. Thank you, Eric, for this image. This is the entrance as seen from the club. And there's the entrance right there, the normal, usual entrance. But to its left, that is the mobile order pickup window. If we take a look a little closer, you can see even that they've included the lettering mobile order pickup right there. So that's the window that we've been seeing through the opposite side from the train station. Done. That's tremendous improvement. I gotta say, that is a tremendous upgrade to what we had before. You know, because it wasn't built for that. French Market wasn't built to have mobile order. A lot of these restaurants weren't. Rancho del Zocalo, not built for mobile order. We'll head over to Critter Country next via New Orleans Square, and as I was heading down that way, I saw Princess Tiana. Golly, you guys, it's gonna be Tiana's Palace, and then you're gonna meet Tiana at various times, at various intervals here in New Orleans Square, and then you're gonna pass by Haunted Mansion and then go to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Fantastic. Delightful. She's a great meet and greet. She's really, really great. I love her. Love her here. I love her on the Mark Twain. She's great there. She's great. But let's get back to business. Tiana's Bayou Adventure. What I'm looking at today, obviously, is that... Well, I have a question first. The fact that there's still all this scaffolding around the mountain, that means that they're not done. I mean, should they be done? I mean, there's still more to do, more to scrape off. You know what I mean? Like, they've already taken down the little trees and things like that. Is there more to take down? Well, actually, it turns out I can answer that question for you now. Yes, there is more for them to take down. Look closer in certain areas. You can see where they have scraped off removing things from the mountain. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. This is from Hungry Bear. You know what this reminds me? Let's get back on the Mark Twain, because I did it this time. I said I would, and I kept forgetting the last 2 weeks. Well, actually, I didn't forget last week because, I remembered, but I couldn't get to the top deck. You can't see. I'm trying to get Grandpa to peek into the Tiana's Bayou Adventure from the Mark Twain from the top deck, but you can't. You can only see from the top deck. You can't see anything from the middle deck. And I really like this view right here. This looks great. I'm gonna have to remember this for future weeks as well. This is a much better view than down on the ground. Plus, I can, I'll have Grandpa with me for that too. Here's a look at the turnaround after the drop. I don't expect to see anything here, but they've covered it up. It's been covered in planks, etc. Okay, here we go. Slow down, Dave. Let's get a good look at this, because we only get a few seconds of view from the Mark Twain, because the Mark Twain doesn't stop. So we'll have to slow this video down a bit. But what's interesting here, okay, they've got a lot of stuff covered in plastic wrap there, which I'm not sure what's happening there, why they would do that. I don't know if that's something they're going to install or if that's something that they don't want to damage. I think it's something they're going to install. That looks like a new element as opposed to an existing one that they're covering. That's my guess. Plus now you've got, what are they doing here with these 2x4s? They've created some sort of railing here. For what purpose, I don't know, but that's curious. It's not scaffold, it's something else. Not that I think that that's going to be show. I don't think it's show, but I'm unsure what it is that they're doing there. I gotta do this again, man. Week 10, and the secret path, as we saw from the Mark Twain, is still open. This week, no Mark Twain here, but you can see her on the other side of Tom Sawyer's Island. That makes me happy. I like to see that. I don't know why. It makes me happy. Week 10, and the Briar Patch is still open, and our friend Brer Rabbit is still back there. Hello, Brer Rabbit. I have no idea what I'm looking at here, except for that tree branch. This is from the Hungry Bear. I don't know what I'm looking for. Was I waiting for it? Why am I staring at this tree branch? I have no idea. I also want to know if that sign, how long has that sign been there? The 5-minute wait sign for Winnie the Pooh. I digress. Let's keep moving. There's the front, the entrance to what will be Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Nothing new to report here. I can report. Okay, so what you're supposed to see here, this is our next casualty. We've been monitoring the status of the little critter houses. There's 3 critter houses that I've been keeping an eye on. 2 critters have been unhoused at Splash Mountain. You can't see it here because it's gone. That house right there. This is from a couple weeks ago. That house is gone. But that little tree house right there. That little tree house is gone. I don't have video of it. It didn't show up correctly. I couldn't see what I was looking at when I was shooting on this day. But the tree house is, the birdhouse is gone. It's not there. So 2 of the 3 houses that we were checking are gone. This is another angle of where you might have seen, which I want to say, Brer Fox's house. I think it is. It's too bad. That house is still there. That's the one that's left. Stay tuned. I don't expect it to last. Otherwise, everything appears to be as it was. So that's Tiana's Bayou Adventure. As I mentioned, we are on week 10. I'm expecting 80 weeks. I'm expecting this to last about 1.5 years. That's 18 months. 80 weeks, give or take. We're 1/8 of the way there. Not almost. We'll go to Fantasyland, where Mr. Toad's still under scrim and scaffolding, but now it is closed. It is closed today, but it'll be reopening soon. Toad's is reopening on August 11th. Now, one thing I didn't notice on my trip through Fantasyland the first time, but then my second time I did notice, is that there's scrim and scaffold up at Princess Fantasy Fair. Well, the Royal Hall specifically. Not all of Princess Fantasy Fair, but just the Royal Hall scrim and scaffold. Not positive what they're doing, but the obvious assumption is just paint and polish. But this, I did not hear or expect this to be a thing. This is kind of a new development, an unexpected development. Maybe we didn't hear about it because there were no planned closures. Those walls, I don't think those were there before either. There were no closures, so it doesn't show up on the refurb calendar. Before we go to our next update, let me remind you, guys, we're doing our first ever look at Epic Universe construction. Let me tease this for you just a little bit. What you're looking at right here, right there in the center of the frame, is a lagoon that they're building that's very much going to be like World of Color. They're gonna do a water show with lights and everything here, with fountains, etc. Right there, that's almost dead center of the park, and it's going to be sort of a stadium seating there, and that's like the centerpiece. There's actually going to be two huge water features. The other one is that dome area. That dome is going to rest in the middle of another body of water surrounding it, and then in the top of the frame there is the hotel. This is the coolest thing, guys. You don't see this very often. They're not at Walt Disney World. They have this at Disneyland Paris, but you don't, obviously not here at Disneyland. That's an in-park, a hotel. That whole thing, that's a giant hotel. It's going to be magnificent. That's going to be inside the park. You can stay in the park. I don't know how many Disney resorts have this feature. Because I don't know Shanghai and Tokyo and all those very well. I don't know if they have the same. I just know Paris. But I find that to be very alluring. The demand, you guys, the demand for those rooms, it's going to be through the friggin' roof. Because from your room, you can watch the World of Color show. I'm going to call it that. But from the room, you can watch the park happen in front of you. That is the coolest thing to me. That is the literal coolest thing, to watch the park happen from your room. I mean, I don't know what I'd be willing to spend for that, but I'm definitely going to, put some eyes on it and see what we can find out. But that's just a tease. We'll come back and look at more of this. There's so many. By the way, this image is courtesy of Bayou Reconstruct on Twitter. X. Oh my God, I just said it. I said X. He does amazing updates on Twitter. It has been for years. He gets aerial footage, aerial shots from all over the place, and he's fantastic. And there's so many photos of this construction. I can't wait to share this with you, and it's going to be ongoing. But anyway, let's get back to our construction update. We'll head to downtown Disney. Catal looks about like it has the last couple of weeks. No updates here. I don't have any shots from Ballast Point either. I shot Jazz Kitchen because I was just hoping. I walked by. I was just hoping that they did something more, but it's still the same. Was not busy at all. Although, albeit I didn't get there, or I wasn't there at a very busy time, but it was not busy at all. Maybe because it costs $100 for two people to eat there. The alley is open at Splitsville. The alley is this new extended seating area, outdoor seating area in front of Splitsville. You got some faux grass down there, a lot of different. It's sort of like almost like a beach setting, or maybe like a picnic area. You can just sit out here in the sun. There's no covering, not a lot of covering. You can play games. There's some Jenga and some Connect 4. Same menu. Oh, there is some covered area or covered areas back there, but same menu as you would get anywhere else in Splitsville. If we keep going through downtown Disney, we'll see that the monorail is still under the hefty bag, still tented, as it were. So I don't know what they're doing. I'm sure it's still covered in scaffold inside there, but not sure what they're doing. And there from a distance, you can see that the Sorcerer's Hat at the Disneyland Hotel is still behind scrim and scaffold. So we'll divert our attention to the downtown Disney construction, the dirt lot. There's the current status of the guitar pick and the vertical construction happening at the former Well of the Souls site, which is now getting a lot more steel added since last week. And you can see here, obviously, that is some curved steel. At this point, I don't think it can be denied that we're looking at the future home of Din Tai Fung. That curved steel definitely suggests that is what they're building here. It's also a second floor, if I'm not mistaken. But I am now 100% confident that what we're looking at there is Din Tai Fung. Meanwhile, if we look left, the Best Buy is still a brick building. Not much to see there. Now, we did get a few photos of the construction from the Disneyland Hotel. There is Din Tai Fung again. Again, that looks like two floors to me, but I can't say for sure if that's the intent or if that's going to be the end result. Based on the concept art, it could go either way. But this is very exciting watching this get constructed here in this way. This is going to move quickly. This is supposed to be done by next summer, so we're going to see a lot of development here in the short term. Some kind of lid has been installed on the building to the right of what was the Well of the Souls, which was like sort of a Best Buy light, that building. Here's another look this is from the Frontier Tower, so it's looking to the left at the Downtown Disney, so you can see a little bit of the Din Tai Fung building and a better view of the top of the guitar pick stage, one of 2 guitar picks. We can also see that site where we were wondering if they were going to build that building that looked like it hadn't or was going to be neglected, not built, ignored from the concept art. Those are footings, so they're getting ready. They are going to put foundation here in this section, so that building from the concept art is going to be done here. And then here's a look at the Best Buy, and you can see that they have started to install steel inside the Best Buy as well. Each one of those sections is going to be an individual shop, I would assume. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5. The other one is a little bit out of frame. But I'm guessing 5 shops in that one building, 5 individual shops. By the way, these photos, again, courtesy of the Fresh Baked Street team. Very grateful for you guys. Thank you to Eric, and thank you to Kevin on Twitter for supplying us these images. Oh, by the way, we do have 2 more, although I'm not sure who gave us these. Liz sent me these, and I'm not sure where she got them from, but these are from I want to say the Adventure Tower at the Disneyland Hotel, looking at the DVC Tower. So, and what I want to look at here is that they have installed some breeze blocks. They've installed a breeze block wall here at the entrance to the hotel. Okay, ESPN Zone still behind Scrim. They're just doing the pavement here. You can see from that first overhead shot that we got a while back that some of that pavement has already been, gotten its new concrete. So that's all we're getting there. Here's a look through the fence a little bit. It's just dirt right now. That'll just be new concrete coming up. Let's go to DCA. Got a few updates to cover here. We'll start on Hollywood Boulevard with another update on Rogers the Musical. We've got about, less than 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks of show left. And like last week, I checked the availability for virtual queue. Found it to be quite easy. I got here at around 3:30, and I checked virtual queue, and it was available. You can see I can join the queue. Let's see what the times are. This is for it doesn't tell you actually what your show is for. You have to join, and then it tells you what show you get. And it wound up being the 5:30 show. So at 3:30, I was able to get a seat for the 5:30 show. The 4 o'clock show was sold out. Standby, though, not that bad. As we pan down Hollywood Boulevard, that's the standby queue right there. About 50 or 60 guests were waiting in standby, and this was just a half an hour before showtime. So a half an hour before showtime, there were 60 guests waiting to get in standby, and obviously they all got in. And here they go. The lady just picked up the standby sign, and she's like, "We're going in. Everybody follow me." That's great. I love it. Go to San Fransokyo next. I don't remember those cables being there. Can you guys tell me if those cables were there before? I can't remember. This wasn't here before. Rita's Baja Blenders is now Rita's Turbine Blenders, and they've actually put in the big fish turbine, the wind turbine at the top of this building. That's cool. That's something to look at. I like that. As a matter of fact, it's kind of what the term that Walt would use. It's kind of a weenie. That was a term that Walt used to something visual that drew your attention from a distance. You'd be walking around the park and you could see it from a distance. You could see it from the parade corridor. It's not as impressive as the castle, but it's there. And they've actually, I thought they were just going to change the sign, but they did add some new paint. You can call Rita for all of your turbine repair needs. And by the way, Rita is also a proud member of the San Fransokyo Chamber of Commerce. So good for Rita. Apparently, Rita does both. She repairs wind turbines and makes tasty margaritas. That's quite a diverse operation. Got some new lamp fixtures here. They look like something that belongs on Ariel's Undersea Adventure, but those are cool. If you missed our What's New at Disneyland report, where we checked in on the food being offered at Cocina Cucamonga, they've added some new street corn. I observed at that visit that there's some new art there. DJ Music Dude. DJ Music Dude, karaoke nightly. I'm wondering if they're going to have karaoke nightly here at San Fransokyo. I really, 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 really hope they do. I gotta say, I kind of love DJ Music Dude. The more I think about it, the more I love it. It's got that Bodie McBoatface type vibe to it. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but DJ Music Dude is the same as Bodie McBoatface. So Epic Universe. This is a new theme park that Universal is building in Florida, in addition to, separate from, their existing Universal Studios theme park, built from scratch to be a theme park, which means I'm expecting amazing things, because so much of what Universal has been doing of late has been A+. All the new stuff that they're doing has been A+. So I have very high hopes. We'll start here. This is, again, these photos are courtesy of Bayou Reconstruct. Great shots, great stuff. This guy's amazing. I hope you guys give him a follow on Twitter or X or whatever the case may be. What we're looking at here is this is just a small section of the park. This is a very long view of what will be, for the most part, what you're looking at is the How to Train Your Dragon land. The whole land is themed to How to Train Your Dragon. What you're seeing here is in the top of the frame, the yellow tracks there, that is a dual track How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster. And that right there is the show building on the far left. That's the launch. I think that's the launch building. And then right here in the sort of center top third are two arms for Skyfly rides. These are two Skyfly rides that are also How to Train Your Dragon. If we were to look at the concept art, that's the launch building there. That would put the Skyfly rides a little bit out of frame to the right, possibly that area right there. But this, again, this is just part of it. If we zoom all the way out, that's just, that one section over there. There's still a whole lot of park here to look at. Like this, for example, as we mentioned earlier in the show, that's the World of Color amphitheater there in the center, the dome, water. I don't know what they're doing here in this domed area, what that could be, and then the hotel in the top third. And then that building right there in front of the hotel, I believe is going to be a restaurant. This next photo is a close-up of that World of Color bay with a whole bunch of concrete. I mean, it looks like a giant satellite array. Arecibo, right? From Contact and or Goldeneye, whichever you prefer. That's what we're going to call that. We're going to call this Arecibo. But that's what that is there. Next shot is sort of a combination of the Arecibo dish and then the stadium seating, the amphitheater seating that they're constructing behind it. And then on the other side of that path there is a connecting piece that joins that with the dome that they're building, the other water feature. Here's a longer look at that World of Color stage, Arecibo. What this is going to be, I don't know. I think this is just water. If I'm not mistaken, it's this feature right there. I'm fairly certain that's what that is. But what this whole thing is going to be, if it's just water for show, I mean, that's typical. They do that. They have a big water area there at Universal Studios in Florida. So why not? Here's a close-up look at them putting in new concrete for the domed area. So that's definitely suggesting water is going to be placed on top of there. Another water feature, this is going to be like a little lake or a small river that flows into a pool, or not a proper pool like for people to swim, but a collection pool of sorts. Probably another lighting feature there. They'll do something decorative or thematic, in that space. And that's right in front of that restaurant. Out of frame to its left is the giant hotel. Here's a cool shot. Here is that dual track roller coaster for How to Train Your Dragon, and then there in the foreground is the Skyfly ride, the How to Train Your Dragon Skyfly ride. There you've got the 2 arms being built there. So that's pretty cool that we're getting a look this early on in the construction progress of how things are going to look, the final product is going to look. By the way, if you've ever seen, or if you're not aware of what a Skyfly ride is, so see, you can see the kind of claw thing. On each end of each claw, there's going to be an individual ride vehicle for one guest. So you can get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 guests on this thing, I think. Based on what I'm seeing, from what I understand of this video, of another Skyfly ride, this one in France. And you can see how it looks exactly like the ride vehicle that they're building right now at Epic Universe. And you can see how each one, it's connected to the arm, and it's going to rotate you around in a circle. The arm will, but each individual ride vehicle can independently twist and turn on its own as well, depending on the guest's desires. I think you can make it spin more or less. See how that guy? Okay, he's going for it. That guy. There's an airplane that's doing the simulated pushing of the guests. So that's what you're getting there. That's what they call a Skyfly ride. In the case of How to Train Your Dragon, that dragon right there on the ground, sitting in that crate that has just been opened up, he will take the place of the airplane in that other ride footage that we just saw. That dragon will be the source of propulsion thematically for the attraction. There he is. They've installed that dragon partially on top of that arm, on one end of that arm, and he will be providing the propulsion for the arm to spin around for guests. Looks great. Looks really cool. I gotta say, looks really cool. I'm not the biggest fan of spinner rides, obviously, and I would probably never ride this thing, but it looks good. Hopefully they can do good things with the queue. One of the things that I'll say about flat rides, out of the box rides like this one, as opposed to fully realized thematic experiences like let's say at Harry Potter Town or Rise of the Resistance. These out of the box rides, they tend to have very drab and boring queues. Hopefully that won't be the case here at Epic Universe. But that's just a one indication of what the rides might look like here at Epic Universe. Again, this is just one land. Let's give you kind of a bigger view of what we can see. Here's a very long view of the entirety of the Epic Universe construction site. Well, actually, this isn't even really all of it. It's probably 85% of the land or of the park. We're viewing this from the reverse direction of the concept art. So at the bottom of the frame, instead of at the top, as in the concept art, you have the hotel, and then there's the Arecibo, and then the dome water feature there in the middle, and the entrance to the park is a straight line. It's kind of like the concept of Main Street through the hub, and then everything radiates around the hub. Everything here radiates around this straight line from the entrance. It goes straight through, and then you turn left, you go right, or you keep going straight, and then you go right or you go left. So it's instead of a wheel, it's, I don't know what you call that. It's branches on a tree, basically, or on a tree branch. It's individual branches on another tree branch. And then this section here in the lower right of frame is, there's no name for it. They don't have any names for these lands yet. I'm not even positive what the actual theming is apart from How to Train Your Dragon. But the word is this is going to be based on classic monsters like Frankenstein and the Mummy and Dracula. There was a whole movie chain or movie series that they were supposed to make. Universal was about. They were going to call it the Dark Universe. They did actually already one of those movies, or two of them. They did the Mummy, and then it died. Because the movie did so poorly, nobody cared. But they were supposed to redo Dracula and Frankenstein and all that, but it never happened. But so I wonder if they're going to use that term here, Dark Universe. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. But that's supposed to be this area here. On the opposite side of the hotel is going to be what initially we had heard was going to be a Harry Potter themed land, but not Harry Potter Town like we see at Universal Studios, Fantastic Beasts. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case still, because that franchise seems to be dying, and I don't know if that's strong enough to hold a land today They might just go back to regular Harry Potter Town. I don't know. Stay tuned, because there's more photos that we're going to look at here, hopefully in the future, that'll give us a better look at what this is, developing into. Right above that area there, that's the How to Train Your Dragon area that we just looked at. And then if we cross the pond again, back to the other side, is the land that a lot of people are the most curious about, is the Super Nintendo land. But again, not the same Super Nintendo land that we've seen already, let's say at Universal Studios Hollywood. By the way, they are building, I've heard, they're building a Super Nintendo world at Universal Studios Orlando as well. So this is going to be a different iteration, not the same as what you can get at Orlando or Hollywood, or even at Universal Studios Hong Kong, which is the original location. This one is going to be a little bit different, and the one attraction that we know of so far is going to be a Donkey Kong ride. They're going to have a Donkey Kong ride. This is a closer look at the land here, again, thanks to Bayou Reconstruct. And you can see a very familiar looking setup here where they're building. That looks a lot like the Super Nintendo world that we've seen at Hollywood. But back here on the right, that's going to be a Donkey Kong ride. And from what I've heard, the concept for this ride is very ambitious and very cool. It's going to simulate, I don't know if you ever played any of the Donkey Kong games, but it's going to simulate you being in a cart, like in the game Donkey Kong Country, and it's going to jump the track. They're going to be able to simulate this. How? I don't know. It blows my mind. I'm fascinated. I'm completely fascinated, and this is something that's worth the price of admission for me, is being able to do a ride where they can simulate a cart jumping the track like that. Stay tuned to Fresh Baked. Hopefully we'll be able to cover this in more detail later on, and then someday soon. There's currently a race to see who can finish first, Epic Universe or Moana's Journey of Water. Stay tuned, guys, for more from Fresh Baked. Thank you guys very much for watching. Follow us on Instagram at _Fresh Baked, on Twitter at Fresh Baked Dizzy. That's fresh with no E. And on TikTok at Fresh Baked Dizzy. And if you like our show and want to show you support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.